This is the Fifth Estate Winning Headlines, brought to you by the Fort Hall School of Government. In this segment, we summarize some of the headlines that you might have missed this morning, and we also take a look at the political pieces that we call cartoons in this country. Today is the 20th of September 2019, and I am DM.
I am 2M.
And I am GK, and in case you missed the headlines, here they are. In the Daily Nation, why battle for KIBERA threatens handshake?
Wow.
Yes.
In the Star, Wairimu, don't open my husband's will. In the Standard, MCAs win big in governor's push for change of law.
Wow.
Shall we begin with KIBERA?
Yes.
Sure.
Absolutely.
The hot political potato.
Hot political potato.
Indeed.
And if I was ODM or Raila Odinga, I'll not catch feelings. Because Jubilee is a political party.
And it's politics.
It's
politics.
Yes.
You see,
Not personal.
it's not personal. You see, Jubilee is not an appendage of the Red Cross. It's not a charitable organization. And therefore, I think all is fair.
Yeah.
If Jubilee wants to field a candidate, let them field. And let Mariga win.
Yeah, and Professor Mutai always says that the handshake is just a ceasefire.
It's a ceasefire.
Yeah.
They don't have a document saying you shall do this, the 10 commandments of the handshake. So therefore,
There are no rules, yeah.
all is fair in love, war, and the handshake.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
should carry on.
Yes, and also to say this.
Yes.
You see, if Raila Odinga feels slighted by this move by Jubilee, and he says Uhuru probably is undermining him, maybe he's not also in a very good position right now, because his allies from 2017, they actually look closer to Uhuru than they look to him.
Yes.
Musalia looks closer to him,
Yeah.
Kalonzo looks closer to him,
Yeah.
Wetangula looks closer to him.
And they're doing what's in their best interest.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But isn't this a pattern that we've seen
Yes.
through Raila's political career of seeking the presidency,
Yes.
first of all, and in this case, in
Yeah.
the handshake?
Yeah, absolutely.
He appears to be overly confident when he feels that he is close to the
Yes,
end.
yes, absolutely.
Or in this case, because KIBERA is his turf.
Yeah.
And it's always been his turn.
And it's always been his turf.
Yeah.
I think he took it for granted
Oh,
that
yes.
this is taken already.
So he's underestimating Mariga.
He's underestimating. Maybe, is it Mariga or Ruto? Because, you know, the dog has an owner.
Every dog has
So we can say the dog will win.
Yes.
Well, we have a three-part criteria that we use to break down the headlines. We ask ourselves whether it is topical or speculative, whether it is monotonous or repetitive,
Yes.
whether it is attentive or just plain lazy.
Oh, fantastic. I see what you did there. I have seen.
Topical, keep you on your toes.
Yeah.
Topical it is because it's ongoing.
Yes.
It
However,
is ongoing.
monotonous because we keep seeing this headline.
Absolutely.
Yes, we've had enough.
I think we've had enough.
Yeah.
This is speculative.
Yes.
I don't think Baba should catch feelings.
We're back to 2M's most favorite murder suspect, Wairimu.
Let me tell you, and I don't know how to say this without sounding bad, but Wairimu is my favorite murder suspect. Number one, because she's stunning. Oh, she's so pretty. But second, she's coming out to fight the system.
Yes.
You know, and I
Yes.
think the system was rigged against her
Yeah.
from the beginning.
It has.
And it's like Africans hate their own.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what's
absolutely.
going
That's
on.
actually the thing, because
Yeah.
on this table throughout this week, as you've been analyzing this story,
Yeah.
you've been counting the ways in which the system is rigged against her.
her.
One,
Yeah.
as a Kikuyu person,
Yes.
I'm one myself, so I can say, as a Kikuyu person, she's just suspected to be money hungry.
Yes.
As a woman
Yes.
who has married an older
older
man,
man, yes.
Yeah.
she's a gold digger.
Yeah,
Yes.
more accomplished.
Now the new element is the race dynamic. It's
Yeah.
not a
Yeah.
new element, but we're talking about it today. It's the race dynamic.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No one is as racist as us ourselves
Yes.
to our other,
Oh,
to our
yes.
fellow
Yes.
black people.
And listen, guys,
Yes.
she has every right to say that this will should not be opened.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. She
And
does.
if it is, she should take it and she should challenge it, because
Yes.
you know what? It's just a statement of intent.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if they feel that it was compromised
Absolutely.
and whatnot,
Absolutely.
she has every right.
But you know what? The principle of life is
Yeah.
that God and fate favors the underdog, and in this case,
Yes.
she's the underdog.
She's the underdog.
Yeah.
But I'm very surprised at how DCI is doing this thing, because this is something he has said. And where is it? Yes.
But it came out in Murgo's statement.
Absolutely.
And also
Yeah.
in the PD
Yes.
this morning.
Yes. So Kinoti said it was inappropriate that her inheriting, as a convicted person, her inheriting the estate it should not be allowed.
Yeah.
And those are Kinoti's words.
Yeah. So you've proven her guilty.
You've already proven her guilty, and that is not Kinoti's job.
Yeah.
Kinoti has to wait for
In fact, the way it was paraphrased in the PD is that killers cannot inherit.
Absolutely. And
that's what was.
Yes. So why would Kinoti take this side very early?
Can we keep this as a winning headline though?
Parking.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Parking
As we look at the standard.
All right.
Yeah.
In the standard, MCAs win big in governors push for change of law. So here they have the
Ugatuzi.
Ugatuzi initiative. So I think Punguza Mizigo is on its dying legs.
This is Punguza Mizigo on steroids.
On steroids, because they want 45% of national revenue.
Yes.
National revenue to be given to counties.
Yeah.
And I'm like, these people are very lazy. Number one, if that is the case, then you raise your revenue by yourself.
Yes.
So that you can spend it how you want.
Yes.
But don't leech on government money, because you're all 47 and you think you have power. Second, this is rats leading one lion. And no, this is rats leading a country other than being led by one lion.
Wow.
My question is, who is sponsoring this agenda?
Yeah, I feel like
the Council
whoever
of
owned
Governors
Punguza now has a new vehicle, perhaps.
Yes, and then you see it's now a hybrid. It's a BBI hybrid because they have the expansion of the executive as one of the things that the initiative is asking for.
Yes.
And then on the other hand, they've realized quite late in the game that if you want to get anywhere with a constitutional amendment by public initiative, you have to pander to the county assembly.
Absolutely.
So they're offering them not only the more allocation, but also personal goodies like mortgages and car allowances. Chiefs.
Can you imagine?
To MCAs.
People who have finished, some of them have degrees, but do you know you actually don't need a university degree to be an MCA? You can actually be led by a class 4 dropout.
Yeah, but can we throw this headline away?
Very far.
Post.
Yes.
All the best. I mean, they're allowed to give their views on the referendum.
That's true.
And so we have a winning headline from the Star. Is that okay? Yes. So I'm happy. On to the political pieces that we call cartoons in this country, where we also have a 3-part criteria that we use. We ask ourselves whether it is humorous or dry, whether it is sarcastic or pessimistic, and whether it is effective or just plain lazy.
Absolutely.
So please put this in the corner.
Okay.
Thank you. We have a method.
Sorry, what is it doing here?
We will do it for you on this occasion.
Wow. So what do we have?
We have William Ruto carrying Mariga Kuku.
Yeah. In fact, most prominent in the picture, we have Uhuru clasping hands with Ruto.
Kuku, for those of our viewers who may not understand.
See, women carry their children over here at the back.
In my language, it's Titi.
It's Titi.
Yeah.
Kuku, Titi.
Now, but now it's front facing.
Tell us what it is in your language.
Quick. So in the cartoon, we see Uhuru front and center, clasping hands with Ruto, who is, I think, Mariga's aya. He's holding a baby Mariga swaddled in a Jubilee lasso.
Ooh.
And then we have a hand in the corner that is holding the other hand of Uhuru, which we can assume is Raila. And the tag there is HANDSHAKE ground.
Wait, you're forgetting his gymnastic prowess.
He's almost doing a split. So this is a commentary on what?
Context is this. ODM has come out to say, not ODM, some fellows from ODM. They're saying that
supporting Mariga was bad for handshake.
Yes, that Baba is being set up and is being fattened for slaughter by Uhuru. And they're also saying that there's factions of Jubilee. They're saying that Uhuru should not have chosen Mariga because he was chosen by a faction of Jubilee.
We have a series of Mariga and Uhuru and Ruto cartoons, so let's look at them together and then decide, right? So we have Kaso.
Yes.
So Kaso has taken us to the Lion King.
Yes.
And there's Uhuru holding up a baby Mariga once again.
Like Simba.
He's saying,
like Simba.
It's all your Simba as far as the eye can see. But instead of beautiful savannah, he's looking at KIBERA rusted tin roofs. Yes. And then behind him is Ruto cheering him on.
Absolutely.
Yes. And standing on the rock.
That's pretty good. Well done, Kaso. Then nice. Dula has taken us to still same scenario.
It's the same scenario, it's the same context. There we see a very tall Uhuru bending over to offer William Ruto a lollipop engraved with Mariga's head.
Yes.
And it has a ribbon. It's a present.
Yeah.
This is a lollipop diplomacy.
Yes.
And behind him, or behind his back, he's holding a money bag that is bursting at the seams, and it's written Kimwarer.
Yes.
But on the other side, the person being offered is a very petulant William Samoei Ruto with arms crossed, indicating that he would have preferred both offerings, but he's only been given one, which, as we know, he took. He took it.
And this is parenting 101. Always give a decoy if you're going to take something else away from someone. So in this case, Kimwarer is gone?
Absolutely. No, Arora is gone.
Yes.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Kimwarer is in.
Continuing.
Oh, okay, so he has to pick one.
Yes, now he has to pick one.
Okay.
But clever politics by Uhuru. You on the same day you receive a report, you ban one and give another, and you say now we are going to appraise this new dam ourselves.
Yeah.
At the same time, because you know there's going to be noise from Sudi and his ilk, you offer Mariga to.
So Mariga was his visit to the State House was a political smokescreen to take our attention away from
the things that were happening.
You know, the thing that tells me that Mariga is going to win this election is I see a pattern of choice architecture here in the cartoons. They're infantilizing Mariga. All the cartoons. I don't think we've seen any
in a pram
where he's an adult making decisions. And when he's a visible adult, he's being giving him direction and whatnot.
Yeah, I really like Dulas of all the cartoons.
Yeah.
I like the splits by Ozone, but I think Dula gives a better story.
Dula wins.
And there we have it. Dula from The Nation gives us our winning cartoon.
Absolutely.
And what is our final thought?
And now our final thought, inspired by a book entitled Propaganda, or as our friends from Western would say, Procopanda, by a gentleman called Edward L. Bernays. You want to give us a week summary?
Yeah, so this week we've been looking at media, propaganda, and its interplay with politics.
Yeah.
So on Monday we did a book called Media Control by Noam Chomsky.
Yes.
And there we learned how we think of democracies as being free and liberal, but actually we're living in a time where there's very rigid control over our media and the information that comes to us. And he calls the masses bewildered herds.
Yes.
And he says that we're too dumb and too stupid, and we have to be told what to do by this specialized class of people, these choice architects from books that we've done before.
Yes.
And then on Tuesday, we went to Russia. And here we really looked at state-controlled media. And that was Putin at the pinnacle of everything, right? And how investing in TV stations such as Russia Today or RT has really had an influence in promoting an alternate point of view. And he asks us, and he's like, why should we only have the British or the American point of view? And there we asked ourselves, we should also have an African perspective.
Absolutely.
And the book there was Nothing is True and Everything is Possible, The Surreal Heart of the New Russia by Peter Pomerantsev.
Yes.
And then on Wednesday we went to media, to looking at Trump and Obama and how media played a role in their prospective elections.
Absolutely.
We looked at how the media loved Obama and how it probably gave him a push into his win in the elections. But also how the media really hated Trump. But also how it also worked to his advantage because he dominated the airwaves.
Absolutely.
And then on Thursday we went back in time to the Nazi era. And here we looked at the OG or the godfather of propaganda, Joseph Goebbels or Joseph Goebbels. And we looked at elements of Hitler, and there we saw how important organization is, how important rituals are in terms of unifying your propaganda, your message, making it short, clear, and simple.
Absolutely.
And today we're doing propaganda.
And by Edward Bernays, who was probably an unconscious student of Goebbels.
Yes.
From how we see it. So the book Propaganda is about how to control what the public sees, or how to control how the public sees businesses, groups, or a particular set of ideas. And Edward Bernays says that understanding propaganda will help you better understand democracy and human nature. So I'll give a summary of just some of the ideas in his book, about 5 ideas. And the first one is the beginning. What is propaganda? So propaganda is about creating images in the minds of millions of people at the same time. And how do you do that? By understanding how people think. And this is where Bernays was ahead of the curve. He incorporated psychoanalysis with other social science. In the the study of propaganda. And not surprisingly, guess who his uncle was? Sigmund Freud.
Yeah,
So he's the father.
He was in good company.
He was in good company. So the father of psychoanalysis, as we know him. So he took his uncle's deep understanding of human nature and then applied it or rather he made it practical by applying it to propaganda. So Freud is known as the father of psychoanalysis, and Bernays is known as the father of PR, and we'll get to that.
Okay.
The second thing is, if human reactions can be predicted, they can be manipulated. So people's reactions, he says, and emotions are often predictable.
Absolutely.
And this means that if you put the right stimulus in front of millions of people, it is quite likely that they will all react in the same way. For example, most people are disgusted by rats and insects. GK here is deathly afraid of lizards. And you're telling me what to use to attack him. and with good reason. It's built into our DNAs. We think that insects and bugs are the carriers of diseases, and so we know to stay away from them. And Nazi Germany, you talked about them, I think yesterday in Goebbels, they used this very effectively in their anti-Semitic campaign by likening the Jews to rats and to rodents and dirty things.
They actually smell.
And that they smell. And this really paved the way, or prepared the psychological ground for their anti-Semitic policies that they then implemented, and we know how that story went. And then thirdly, the invisible government. This is a very interesting concept. See, he says, democracy in itself is actually very funny. We're saying that millions of people are participating in the art of government, or the art of governance, or statecraft. Millions of people have never opened a book in economics or in ethics or in the law. So what happens is that we have to select a group of people to identify the priorities in this area. And so he says that these few people highlight the important issues and you vote for them. And this is how democracy brings about the invisible government. And this is a quote that is very powerful. Perhaps play the organ music.
You don't usually ask for your own organ.
The conscious and intelligent manipulation of organized habits and opinions of the masses is an important element in democratic society. Those who manipulate this unseen mechanism of society constitute an invisible government, which is the true ruling power of a country. We are governed, our minds are molded, our tastes are formed, our ideas suggested, largely by men and women we have never heard of.
So that is lovely.
Loaded.
Lovely.
But a bit scary.
No, I love it.
But isn't it true?
I'll mention it later, but hey, go on.
So the fourth thing, how public relations started. Now, Bernays tells us the mother of public relations is propaganda. But because of the negative association with the world wars at that time, he coined the term
public relations.
He's the one who coined the term public relations. Arose by any other name, smell just as sweet. So all companies in Kenya with PR departments can change the name to propaganda departments, like communist China.
Absolutely.
And finally, to influence someone, find a leader. Or find their leader. People think social media is what beckoned to the age of what we call influencers, but this book is almost 100 years old.
So they've existed before your Instagram and your Facebook.
Absolutely. And Bernays himself talks about how he put that into practice. He was trying to get Americans, I think he was acting on behalf of a company, to see eggs and bacon as an all-American breakfast. And how he did this, he thought, who would be the influencer in this case? It's the doctors and the physicians. So there were doctors endorsing it and saying eggs and bacon are actually really healthy.
And they'll say that breakfast is the most important meal of the day.
And so on and so forth. And he had one of the most successful campaigns in that era.
That's very interesting.
You see, this Bernays man was inspired by a man we spoke about this week.
On Monday, actually.
Yes, Walter Lippmann, right? And Lippmann was a member of the Krill Commission. Now, if you want to know more about the Krill Commission, you can look at our episodes this week. But Lippmann was of the view that democracy, as we know it, and he calls it the democratic El Dorado. And El Dorado is this place full of bliss and wealth. It's an utopian concept, right? That this democracy is impossible to implement in modern mass society. And he says this, the reason is this. He says that the masses, by and large, are incapable of lucid thought or clear perception. They are driven by hard instincts and mere prejudice, and are frequently disoriented by external stimuli. and he says, the solution to this is this.
Yes.
There is what I would call the Central Bureau, but he calls it the supra-government body of detached professionals. And their work is to sift through huge amounts of data and think for these masses. And it's because these masses are unable, they are unable to think
for themselves.
For themselves. But then this man called Barnes, he loves that idea from Lippmann. And that's when this thing of saying, what you just said, of the masses' minds, they must be molded.
Yeah.
And let me just allow me to repeat what you said. And he says that we are governed, our minds are molded, our tastes are formed, our ideas suggested, largely by men that we've not heard of. And then he says, these are invisible governors, right? And these are a heroic elite who coolly keep it all together, thereby organizing chaos as God did in the beginning.
Wow.
Well, thanks for that. What I took away from this was really two aspects of PR.
Yes.
And I brought it to modern times.
Yeah.
And he says, sell what you stand for.
Yes.
And he says there's two methods to do this. Continuous interpretation and a method he calls high spotting.
Yes.
So instead of, so the first thing he says is instead of trying to control every detail that the public sees, highlight one good thing, focus on that and really high spot it.
And pump it in.
Yeah, so and that's from your product that you're selling to your politician.
Yes.
So with Mariga or whoever it is, high spot the really valuable asset that he has.
Yes.
And then the last thing as well is it's the halo effect in marketing.
Okay.
You guys know that good-looking people always thought to be intelligent.
Yes.
And so it's the same concept.
That's how JFK became president.
Yeah.
That's how Bill Clinton became president.
Their good looks cast this halo, and you think that because he's good looking, all his other qualities are good, right? So I think there's ways we can pivot strategy for politics, for our products, for anything that we're doing in everyday life.
Yes.
And also the other thing is that in the age of propaganda, it's good not to think of people as disparate groups.
Yeah.
We're all overlapping. So there's things that make us follow other people and influences.
Yes.
And so if you think of the group that you're influencing as overlapping, then your strategy can make sense.
And reaching a wider group of people.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of fun. There was a lot of food for thought with
it. It's a very interesting book to read, and it's crazy to think that it was written 91 years ago.
Yes.
But it applies to today's business and applies to today's politics.
Exactly. We hope you've been inspired on a day where we had a winning headline from the Star, and a winning cartoon from the I want to say this. Propaganda has a bad name, but its root meaning is simply to disseminate through a medium or a platform. The essence of propaganda, as I see it, consists in winning people over to an idea. So sincerely, so vitally, that in the end, they cannot escape it.
Amen.
So I urge you to subscribe to our channel, as well as look for us on TV. We are on Pan Free to Air, Go TV, and Star Times. Have a great weekend.
Yes.